You ready to go to explore?
Ready.
So last night we watched a movie, didn't we? And I guess Ben got a little inspired watching that movie. He also got a little sad in some parts, but he said, Mom, in the morning, let's tour our farm.
Yeah, we're gonna tour our farm.
Tour our farm. All right, you gonna lead the way?
Yeah. The swing.
You're gonna go to the swing first?
Yeah, Daddy can push me on it.
Oh man, the grass is wet.
Yeah, exactly.
The pond's up high.
The pond's really high.
Yeah, like when.
I do feel super inspired whenever I come out and think about all the things we're gonna do here. Also am processing right now, I'm not gonna say struggling, but processing right now with the fact that it can't all be done at once. So we watched that video last night, that movie, and I was explaining to Ben, because he was talking about how, you know, he wasn't understanding in that movie how much time was lapsing. And we're watching this 2-hour documentary that lapses over, like, I don't know, 10 to 12 years or something like that, of this family, this couple building this amazing farm. And as a documenter, as a person who makes video and stuff, it is truly an impressive feat that they so faithfully documented this and told this story well. It's really, really neat. As a farmer and a homesteader, it is extremely inspiring, but I'm glad I have both perspectives. Like, I understand how much work went into that, because I come out to this blank canvas and I think of all the things that it could be, and that it will be. And like 5 to 10 years from now, this will be exceptional. But like right now, every little job takes time. Every little thing takes time. And right now, when we are facing, you know, needing to set our house up, needing to get our utilities functioning properly, needing to just get the basic stuff in order, like right now, you know, our biggest task that's time consuming is keeping the grass down, you know, and we'll implement all the things we want to implement, but it's just going to take some time. What do you think, Sweet Maya?
All we need is time.
Yeah. And money. Time and money. That's all it takes to build a farm. Time and money. And skills.
And help.
And knowledge and help. That's right. No big deal. No big deal right there. I think it is easy to forget when you are watching something documented just how much time and money and skills and help goes into setting up something like this. And when you have a homesteading dream, it's easy to become discouraged when you come up on that fact that like you have this big vision, but it takes time and money and skills and help and tools and space. And I don't know, I think that there's...
And Benny.
And Benny. I think that there's something really freeing though in coming to terms with it, because then you realize like you don't have to do it all at once. It's going to be a 10-year process. It's going to be a long path. It's going to be a journey that takes a good long while. And just kind of making your peace with that takes away that rushed feeling. Honestly, when I think about what I want to do over the long period of establishing this, it allows me to dream a little bigger, you know? Like to envision more intricate design, to envision things that are going to take more of those resources. When I start thinking about what can I do right now is when I compromise what I would want to do.
It feels very unfamiliar, and I'm not sure, like I'm just having to deal with it in my own head space as far as like having this much space to use. I'm just looking at the space right in front of the house, and I'm like, yeah, this is basically what we had to work with as far as a garden. And
yeah, like our entire farm was this corner right here.
And we have, you know, this space we haven't even started on. I mean, the whole other side of the pond we haven't even started cleaning up. We haven't cut it since the first time I came out. Like, it's just, we can't even go there yet just because of time.
Yeah.
It's just like, man, we've got to start. This is making us think bigger.
Yeah. One of the things with permaculture and like sustainable agriculture, and this is what we really want to apply here, it's not just, okay, I want to use the land well, it's I want to benefit the land with what I'm doing. Like, we have a small dairy goat herd. We are going to be adding some dairy cows, just probably, you know, a couple of family cows, not a big operation. But even with that, our pasture areas are large enough that we could just set them loose. We could do that. It wouldn't exhaust it. But if we are intentional and we graze rotationally and then we run other animals behind those, we can actually build the soil and benefit the land. And that's what we're trying to learn right now, because it's more work. And so when you have so much space, you could just let these things out and not cause damage. It's like, well, that might be just the easier thing to do, but it's like, no, hold on a second, what's our goal here? And if our goal is to benefit the land, we want to learn these practices well and apply them. I'm just sitting here while Ben swings looking at this area, and this is where Jeremiah's talking about so much space. Like, you can see our house is up there, and right in front of this house is an area that's going to be a big wood shop, a workshop. But there's still like a ton of space right here. And I'm sitting here looking at it going, how do we utilize that?
Now, one thing we've discussed, promising our kids a fort of some kind for a long time. And we thought maybe close to this, you know, tree swing. So maybe somewhere up on there we incorporate with like some growing space, like their little tree fort, trampoline, or whatever they're going to play on, just having something outside to do because they're so used to having that. And now, other than just the open space and this one swing, that's all they've got. And
I'm actually thinking I want to do that more this way, where it's going to be in between this tree and where our house is going to be. Because here's why. This area right here, this is actually our pond.
All that land back there flows through here.
And so
there's water back there.
There's like a watery area there. And my dad was talking about getting a track hoe in here and kind of improving that area into another separate, very small pond, body of water. That is so overgrown right now, but eventually it's going to be another small body of water. And I'm thinking probably the best use of this little space here is fruit trees, because I don't want to put a kid's play area right up against where it's potentially we could be dealing with things like snakes. But if we do fruit trees here, we can keep geese in with the fruit trees, and they will keep the snakes at bay, and they will keep anything that might come up from that pond from the area where we're going to have like a heavily kind of populated area. So I think a small little orchard here would probably be a good use of that space to keep us from having to mow it. And then over here where we're going to have that fence, we're going to do a wooden fence alongside this pond, and I'm going to plant irises alongside it. And then up here for the kids, and this is going to be just like a more cleaned out area. What do you think about that?
That sounds like a better plan.
What do you want to show me?
Like, so I can get from this area all the way to that area, standing up.
Oh, cool trick.
Well, considering when we do build a house, it'll be right there. I think putting it higher.
Yeah, like a play area right here.
There's really not a whole lot going to happen. You know what I'm saying? Like, this would actually be a good spot.
Yeah. Just keep in mind where that drain off was. That pretty much formed a creek when it rained so hard.
Yeah, it actually runs to the right of this tree. You can see that's why it's so low right here. Because it all just runs down through here.
That was pretty wild. So when you put the driveway over that, you're planning on putting a culvert in, right?
I'm going to put 2 culverts in to make sure it doesn't
wash out our driveway.
Yeah.
You know, I'm learning something in taking on this role of planning a farm from scratch and engaging with you guys, our audience, in doing this. I'm also currently working on this book, The First Time Homesteader, which is the next book that I'll be publishing. And I'm talking a lot about like laying out a farm and figuring these things out. And I had hoped to finish that book at our old farm, and I decided to stretch it out, and I'm so glad I did, because having this experience, the last farm, our first farm, we did it tiny piece by tiny piece, and we made a lot of mistakes. And now, implementing the lessons that we learned in planning this farm, one of the big lessons being make a 5-year plan, don't get in a rush, don't get fearful. It's just taught me a lot, and I feel like it's helping me in being able to teach this. And the thing that I've really picked up from engaging with the audience, I find that when a lot of people decide that they want to homestead, it's because it's coming from this place of realization that our food system is really broken and they want food sustainability, they want a simpler life, they want to get out of the rat race. But I also find that a lot of times people get so focused on, we got to grow food, we got to grow food, we got to grow food, that they go into survival mode. And one thing that we are really implementing here, and I think that this is important, and I want to share this, build your farm to thrive in every situation. Build your farm to thrive if there's always food in the grocery store. Build your farm to thrive if you live a peaceful life for the rest of your life. And in doing so, if you build the infrastructure to grow food, but you also build a place, like, consider, where are your children going to play? Where are you going to host your family Thanksgiving? Where are you going to do these things, as well as how are you going to grow the food? Then I believe you'll have a place that you're far more invested in. I've seen a lot of people dive into homesteading and burn out really hard in the first 5 years because it's so focused on gotta produce, gotta produce, gotta produce. And I've talked to so many people who within their first few years of homesteading, they have 200 jars of pickles that they canned in their pantry, and they learn that they don't want to eat that many pickles, you know, but that's what they knew how to do, so that's what they did. And it's like, if you come out of that survival mentality and into that thriving mentality and that abundance mentality and that place of like, I want to grow the things I want to eat. I want to grow the things I can't get at the store. I want to build a farm that I want to live on. And then within that space, I want to grow food. If you ever need your farm to survive, you'll have it. But in the meantime, you'll be thriving. And I think that creates a lifestyle that you can actually live in through your life.
That really sets you up to have like a long-term plan, it'll let you stay long-term.
Yeah.
Like you won't burn out. The only reason why we didn't burn out is just sheer force of will, because we made all these mistakes, you know, of chickens and pickles. Oh, when you said the pickle thing, I was like, I don't even like pickles, but cucumbers were growing and it was easy, and so we did a lot of pickles. And
it was like, how do I preserve all these cucumbers that I planted?
And now those pickles have traveled,
I still have pickles from the first
715 miles to the new farm.
From that year. No, those are new pickles. Those are last year's pickles. We finally got through the 2017 pickles. There was a lot of them. Hey Ben, what part did you like the most on that movie you watched last night, where they did things on their farm? What thing did they do that you thought was most interesting?
Ducks eating the snails.
Hey, turn around and tell me.
Ducks eating the snails.
The ducks eating the snails. That was pretty neat. They had a really bad snail problem in their orchard, and they finally figured out to put their ducks in the orchard, and the ducks ate all the snails, and Benjamin was very impressed by that. Look at those piggies. They said, Ben, give me some snacks. Oh honey,
What?
we need to get some sort of shelter up. Look at Doris's teats.
I thought you were saying because like it was hurting them. I'm like,
No, I mean, they've got cover from the rain. Now I'm saying she needs some sort of isolation. She's going to be having babies within the next month. Overall, I do think that the idea of building your farm to thrive, it will serve you better in the long run. And you know, last year, 2020, our channel experienced a massive surge of growth when all the grocery store shelves went empty and people were home, and you know, they were being told they could only buy 2 packages of meat at the store, or you know, they were being told don't buy the fruits and vegetables because if they're handled they might not be safe, and like all of these different things that people were having to factor into their food acquisition that they never had to factor in before. And that led so many people to the garden, and for that I can say that is just a massive silver lining and what has been a really hard thing. And now the idea of homesteading, you know, I talk to a lot of people. Well, what do you guys do? We grow food, we teach other people how to grow food. I would say that there has been a massive shift just in the general population over the course of the last several years since we first started this, where that is becoming much more normal, I guess, mainstream. The idea of homesteading is not as foreign to people as it was even just like 10 years ago. And that's really exciting to me. But I feel like for this to really become a way of life that can reach people in all different areas, it can't just be about survival. I will tell you, when the grocery store shelves were empty and there were limits on everything, there was a lot of comfort that came from having established soil and a good seed collection and a freezer full of meat and all of those things. I experienced a lot of like, oh, this really isn't affecting me on a personal level, and it positioned us to be able to teach. Now it's interesting because I'm in this place where, like, I still have freezers, but I don't have established gardens. I don't have established fruit trees. I don't have all of these things that were very comforting to me before. And it's stretching, and it's kind of like testing me to be like, well, where is your comfort actually lying in? But it's also making me really chew through, what do I want to establish? This little guy is trying to knock my camera off. It's like, what do I really want to establish? And I want to grow a lot of food. I want to be able to turn this 27 acres into a place where we grow the majority of our food, and I believe that we can do that here. Not just survival food, not just pig scuffle, not just survival food, not just like we're eating basic food that doesn't bring us joy every day. I want to eat food that brings us joy. I want to share food that brings other people joy. I want to make delicious things and wonderful things and things that excite me. I love the creative expression and the beauty that food can bring. And because of that passion, I want to grow diversity. I want to grow things that interest me. I want to grow something lovely. And I don't know, it's just, but we were thinking about that this morning. That movie really did inspire me. I can't believe I haven't watched it until now. We don't watch a lot of TV. But it really did inspire me to think about growing a farm that's diverse and beautiful and organic, and so many wonderful things that also will feed us no matter what the situation is, whether the grocery store shelves are empty or whether it's Friday night and we're having guests over and we want to feed them something that they've never had before. And that's what I'm thinking about this morning, so that's what I wanted to share with you guys. Here comes the sun, Benny boy. What'd you find?
Clothes clip.
A clothes clip.
Clap, clap.
A clothesline is one of the things that I want to hang up, put up outside the house. Probably won't hang all the clothes on it because we have a lot of laundry, but I think it would be nice to have. Right now we have to reseed the areas where we dug in the utilities because our grass is killed in those areas, obviously. And then here we've been driving in. This actually is not where we want our driveway, but we had these junk piles from clearing everything out, and this is started to be cut in by the workers coming to put our house together. We've just driven this way, but we're going to start graveling the other area, and we're going to block this off so the grass can start growing again. Isn't that your plan, Maya?
Yeah, actually today I think I'm going to move that metal pile.
Okay.
And then I'm going to move it to where this drive currently is. Figure what we'll do is I'll get on the four-wheeler, and then you can hang off the back with a can of spray paint.
This sounds interesting.
And then I'll drive, and you spray paint behind us, and you tell me where to go to make the drive, and then that's where we'll drive.
Okay. I'm gonna hang off the back and spray.
Like this. It'll be fine.
It'll be fine. That sounds great. I'll just hang off the back. Well, I shared this in our plan video, which some things have changed in that plan video, but it's mostly the same. But the driveway is going to come down and around and then curve. And between the driveway and the fence here, where the pasture is, that's where all the gardening efforts are going to be. So we're going to do like some kind of dwarf fruit trees and berry bushes, and I want to do muscadines and scuppernong, and then some in-ground spaces, raised bed spaces, and at the end here we'll do a little glass greenhouse. So the driveway is actually our next project, because right now, I mean, we're just driving through the grass and it's dry because it's hot. Even though we got all that rain the other day, it's already dry again, and you can drive just fine. Once it starts to cool off, we don't want our yard to get so muddy that nobody can get down the driveway. So we got to get a driveway put in here pretty soon. The idea of like long-term thinking and thriving instead of just surviving is also really helping us to do the things that need to be done rather than the things that we could easily become focused on. Oh, we got to get the food going, we got to get the food going. It's like, hold on a second. It's going to be okay. we don't need to get our car stuck in the driveway this winter. So we have to prioritize those things. Even though they don't feel great to prioritize, it's important to prioritize them. We did start laying cardboard down out front here to get a little bit of garden beds going. All right, guys, so I shot this video and I am now realizing that I forgot to finish it. So editing Jess here to say thank you for hanging out with me. I bless you. Until next time.